Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared and we are about to play Food Chain Magnate. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. Make sure to like and subscribe below the video. It helps a lot. As you can tell from the art and design, this takes place in a 1950s or 60s America. To win, you'll have to use cutthroat business tactics and build an efficient workforce to outsell your opponents. By the end, whoever has made the most money will win the game. Here's a basic idea of what happens in a game round. Follow along in the front of the menu. First, everyone plans which employees are going to go to work that round or be played. Turn order is determined by how many open slots were not used. Each player gets a turn to trigger all their employees played, and neighborhoods will try to buy the food and drinks that were marketed to them. Players who are able to sell the food to them collect money earned. Then the advertising triggers, giving the marketed neighborhoods on the map a certain food or beverage craving. That craving will then fuel their purchase for the next turn. With some minor upkeep, the game proceeds like this until the initial bank of money runs out. When the bank breaks the first time, the reserve cards are revealed, which will determine how much money makes up the bank for the rest of the game. The game will end once all of this money has been earned. The player who made the most money wins the game. These tiles represent the map, which will be laid out in a grid. You can see roads and neighborhoods. The square tokens with restaurant names are the restaurants that you'll be building on the map. These tokens represent different types of advertising. For example, you can see billboards, mailboxes, planes, and radio advertising. These cards are potential employees of your organization. These cards are milestones that can be earned throughout the game. In my copy of the game, however, I found it was easier to print the milestone diagram out and laminate it. Then players can just use dry erase markers to circle or X out milestones earned and lost. Most of this information is all found in this helpful player menu. This, of course, is the money you'll earn by selling food and beverages. Everyone starts out with the CEO card as the only person in your organization to begin with. These cards are bank reserve cards, which will end up determining how long the game is going to play, as well as your CEO's open slots that are available. For example, the CEO card by default has 3 open slots, which just means you can play up to 3 employee cards under it. These tokens represent the food and drink that you can produce and try to sell. You've got pizza, burgers, lemonade, soda, and beer. The first thing you'll want to do is set up the employee cards in this arrangement. I'm using this accordion in the empty box bottom, which I made from folders and tape. If you don't have that, just display them on the table in the same arrangement. If you're using the milestone cards instead of the dry erase method, lay them out in this arrangement near the employee cards. If your gaming table is large enough, you can lay out the employee cards and milestone cards at the very edge of the table. If you're concerned about space, I recommend laying all these cards onto a separate card table. Now I'm going to point you to the setup reference in the rulebook found on page 5. Depending on player count, you're going to have either 1, 2, or 3 copies of each 1x employee card. Here's an example of one. You'll find the 1x icon at the bottom left of the card. Players can only ever have one of these in their possession at any time. After determining from the chart how many of these are in play, have one person go through each 1x employee type and remove any needed cards from the game. The employee cards that have the 1x icon are Regional Manager, CFO, Executive Vice President, Luxuries Manager, HR Director, Guru, Zeppelin Pilot, Brand Director, Burger Chef, and Pizza Chef. They're also referenced in the player menu. Also, have one player look through the billboard tokens and remove them and their associated number tokens as indicated in that same chart. These should be removed from the game depending on player count. So if playing a 2-player game, remove 12, 15, and 16. In a 3-player game, remove 15 and 16. And for 4 players, just remove number 16. Now, the chart will show you the grid pattern and size to use when creating the map. The map tiles should be shuffled so as to randomize the layout. When you create the grid pattern, just place the tiles without regard to orientation. This is all part of creating a random map. A 2-player game uses a grid of 3x3. 3-player games use a 3x4 grid. 4-player map is arranged 4x4, and a 5-player game is 5x4. In this teaching game, I'm going to set up a 3-player game map. Using an assortment of small bills, have one player create the bank equal to $50 times the number of players. Put the rest of the money aside. Each player can now choose one of the restaurant chains available and take all 3 restaurant tokens that match it. Give each player a player menu, 1 CEO card, and a set of 3 reserve cards. Collect the turn order markers for the restaurants in play and shuffle them up. Randomly draw one at a time and place them on this turn order track in the order they were drawn. Food Chain Magnate now hits you with 2 really important decisions at the beginning of the game. First is where to place your first restaurant, and second, which bank reserve card do you want to select. Both have large gameplay repercussions. Starting with the player who is last on the turn order track and going in reverse, each player can place a restaurant on the map or pass. Make sure the coming soon side of the tile is face down. If anyone did pass, or another round then is executed in turn order, and at that point everyone who passed must place a restaurant. You can't pass again. Restaurants must be fully placed on empty white squares. Their entrances, which are indicated by the corner arrow, must be along a road. No starting restaurants placed can have their entrances on the same map tile. So for example, this is fine, but this setup is not. Now's a good time to take a look at how the roads and neighborhoods are arranged. In general, neighborhoods are going to prefer to buy from the restaurant that's closest to them. However, they have to be connected to the restaurant by a road. Distance is counted by connected roads per tile. So if your restaurant's entrance is on the same tile as a neighborhood, its distance is 0. This one tile away, is 1 distance, and this one is 3. If you see a map tile with overlapping crossroads like this, you can't change roads when counting distance. However, if you placed your entrance of a restaurant here in the corner so it's touching both roads, you could then have access to both roads. While you would want to be as close as possible to a lot of neighborhoods, you also don't want to be too close to your competition. So these 2 neighborhoods over here are a great option too, because you'll have an easier time selling to them exclusively. If you're playing the game right now, I recommend pausing here to let everyone decide on their initial restaurant placement. Once everyone's placed their first restaurant, now everyone secretly chooses 1 reserve card and places it face down in a pile to the side for later. Discard everyone's remaining 2 reserve cards without looking at them. They can sit face down in the game box. When the initial bank breaks the first time, the reserve cards are revealed, which will determine how much money makes up the bank for the rest of the game. The game will end once all of this money has been earned. So choosing $100 is like voting for a short game, and choosing a $300 reserve card is like voting for a long game. At the start of the game, no one will know for sure how long the game will take. Additionally, the reserve cards show the number of open slots that CEOs will have for the latter part of the game. Whichever number occurs most will determine the slots. So if 2 types of reserve cards are equally represented, the highest dollar value card then determines the slots. The front of the player menu outlines how a single round plays out. There are 7 phases: restructuring, order of business, working 9 to 5, dinner time, payday, marketing campaigns, and cleanup. During restructuring, each player secretly chooses which employee cards they want to be active and at work this turn. Place them in a face-down pile in front of you. The rest of the cards can't be used this turn and are considered on the beach. For the very first turn, everyone is just going to be using their CEO card, as it's played every round. Once everyone has selected the cards that they're playing this round, and have them face down in front of them, simultaneously reveal the cards of each player. Once revealed, they must be laid out in an organization structure so everyone can see that the employees are properly reporting to management. If someone has accidentally played more employee cards than can fit into the company structure, all of their cards are taken back to the beach and only their CEO can be used that turn. When I play this game with first timers, I offer one mulligan or redo for the first time that they make that mistake. After everyone has laid out their company structure, everyone should count and state how many open slots they have in their organization. The player with the most open slots in their company structure gets to choose which spot they want to take in the turn order, then so on for next highest open slots. I recommend sliding all the turn tokens up like this while doing this process. If there are ties for open slots, any tied players keep their relative turn order position from the previous round. So let's say this was the previous turn order. This player has restructured their organization this round to have one open slot available. The other two players have no open slots. So we move the Golden Duck Diner restaurant to first, and the others slide down, keeping their relative turn order. These arrows show you can play 3 employee cards under it, so you have 3 open slots under you to put employees to work. As you gain more management, which are the cards in this row of black cards, you can play more employees at a time. Any employee card can report directly to you. However, the management cards may only be placed under the CEO. So your organization may have one row of management, which then have a number of open slots beneath them for other cards. Each management slot which doesn't have an employee card reporting to it counts towards an open slot during the turn order calculation. In turn order, each player can activate all the employees you've played to do various actions. You only start the game with your CEO card, which must be played every time. Your starting ability as a CEO is to hire one basic employee card during your turn. When it's your turn, you trigger all actions available from all your cards played. Any card actions that have to do with price or money is mandatory. Performing other employees' actions are optional. The pricing manager, discount manager, luxury manager, CFO, recruiting manager, HR director, and waitress actions are all mandatory. Each card tells you what action they can do. Every turn, since you have to play your CEO card, you'll get to recruit someone. All the employees that are available for you to recruit are on the far left column and have this triangle icon on them. You'll never have to pay salaries for any of these recruit cards. Recruited cards are put into your hand, which is to say on the beach. You cannot recruit or own more than one of a card with that 1X symbol on it. If you have a trainer card and play them in your organization that round, you're allowed to train an employee on the beach or one you just hired. A trainer card trains one employee one step. Just take the next card along the training pathways as shown in your menu. Sometimes you're limited to one path. Others you can choose. For example, look what the management trainee card can be trained into. He can become either a new business developer, junior VP, or luxuries manager. Then put the card you just trained back into the available cards pool. It's important to note that an employee card cannot be trained multiple times in one turn unless you've gained that special ability. If you try to recruit or train up to get an employee card, but there are none left, you can't take it. However, you may ghost recruit and train immediately to get the card that is available. All cards you gain from training must be paid a salary even if they are on the beach. The easiest thing is to look to see if the card has this icon. If it does, it's free. If it doesn't, you'll end up paying for them at the end of each round. I'll go into that more later. These are the possible marketing people. Each level up gains an additional type of advertising that they could place. You could advertise with billboards, mailboxes, airplanes, or radio campaigns. All marketing is for a single product at a time only. You can choose burgers, pizzas, or any one of the drinks. You don't have to be able to produce them to market them. Once you've decided how and what you want to advertise, grab the associated campaign tile and the number tile. The number tile will sit on the marketing card to remind you which campaign that they're running. You can choose from any of the available campaign tiles that are off the board. The marketing tile placed must be within range of the marketing card's range number shown here. The range of a marketer is counted by starting at any of your restaurant tiles. They will need to be able to reach the spot where the ad tile goes. Billboards will market to neighborhoods they touch. Mailboxes will market to all neighborhoods within the same area. That area is bordered by roads, not neighborhoods. Radio ads market to all neighborhoods on all map tiles on it surrounding it. The maximum area is 9 map tiles. Billboards and mailbox ad campaign tiles must be adjacent to a road that connects to one of your restaurants. The radio ad tile must be connected to a road, but it doesn't have to be a road that connects to your restaurant. Plain advertising works a little differently. They are placed on the outside of the map, but adjacent to 1, 3, or 5 squares of the map. They will advertise their products to all neighborhoods that go across the map from where they start. You'll see that each tile is 2 squares long on one side, and the other side will dictate how many squares that they can market to on the map. So the available plain sizes are 1, 3, and 5 squares long. The marketing card will provide a maximum duration for the ad. You can choose how many rounds you want them to advertise with a minimum of 1. Place a wooden token for the type of good that you're marketing on the campaign tile. So if you want to advertise burgers with the billboard for 1 round, put 1 on it. If 2 rounds, put 2 on it, etc. Remember, a single marketing ad can only advertise one type of good. Marketing employees who are busy with an ad campaign are set aside near the player and do not count towards the organizational pyramid or on the beach. Those marketers are going to sit in front of you while they're still doing marketing, so they won't be picked back up until they're done. However, they must still be paid per the normal rules. In addition to playing marketers during working 9 to 5 phase, some employee cards may produce food and drinks, place new houses and gardens, and place or move your restaurant tiles. I'll go into depth on those later when I go over each employee card. Once each player has had a turn and completed all actions from their employee cards played, the 4th phase, dinner time, begins. The first 2 turns, no neighborhood will buy food or drink since the marketing campaigns begin advertising during phase 6 each round. Any neighborhoods with food or drink tokens on them will try to go eat now. Resolve each neighborhood in number order, lowest to highest. The key here is the neighborhood will only buy from someone if they can sell exactly what they want, meaning the exact amount and kind of food and drink on their space. For example, if this neighborhood has 2 burgers and a lemonade on it, I can't sell just burgers to them. I have to be able to offer 2 burgers and 1 lemonade to sell anything to them. They will go where they can get what they want, or they don't buy anything at all. To determine which restaurant a neighborhood buys from, first see which restaurants are connected to it via a road. From those available, determine who has the exact order to satisfy that neighborhood. Competition for the customers will occur if more than one player could serve them what they want. The customers will buy from the closest and cheapest place to them, then by best service. Check what the base price of each good totals, plus the distance to the restaurant. They buy from the lowest number. If a tie, they go to whoever has more waitresses played that turn. If still a tie, first in turn order sells the goods. I say base unit price here because you'll find that homes with gardens double how much you earn from them. Plus, certain milestones give bonus money for items sold. These factors are irrelevant in competition, as these bonuses are extra income earned, not base price. The base price of any good is $10. Players can affect that price by playing employee cards to lower or increase their price. To determine the distance, follow the road from the entrance of the restaurant to the neighborhood. Each tile border you cross counts as one step. So if you have a restaurant on the same tile as the neighborhood, the distance is 0. Once you've determined who is selling to that neighborhood, the player pays the appropriate food and drink tokens back to the supply and gains money from the bank for each good sold this way. Then, remove the tokens that were on the neighborhood space on the map. If you sell to a neighborhood with a garden, the player receives double the base unit price. Any bonuses you may get are never doubled. Continue to sell goods to neighborhoods in this way, in numerical order. If any were unable to buy because no one was connected by road to them, or more likely, no one could offer exactly what they want, leave the tokens there for the next round. After dinner time comes payday. Every player must look at every employee card they have, including ones in their hand. If any cards have the money symbol on them, you must pay $5 each to keep them in your organization. Salary money is paid to the bank. For any you cannot pay, they go back to the supply. Remember that each marketer that is busy running a campaign needs to be paid too if they have the money icon on them. If you have no money and have fired all your other employees that need to be paid, then you're allowed to fire marketers running campaigns. If you have salary discounts, remember $0 is as low as you can pay. Employees won't ever pay you to work. After everyone is paid for the salaried employees, all marketing campaigns currently on the board are activated. The marketing tiles have numbers on them. Each one triggers in numerical order. The max number of tokens that can be placed on a neighborhood is 3. If it has a garden, then it can hold up to 5 tokens. If you would place a good token on a neighborhood but it's already full, then nothing happens. I've already discussed which neighborhoods each type of ad campaign reaches, but to summarize, billboards advertise to each neighborhood it touches orthogonally. Mailboxes advertise to each neighborhood in its area enclosed only by roads in the edge of the entire map. Its reach passes through other restaurants and houses. Airplanes advertise to each neighborhood it can fly over. Depending on the plane, it can be 1, 3, or 5 squares wide. Radio campaigns advertise to every neighborhood on the tile it was placed, and all 8 surrounding tiles. For any neighborhood being advertised to, place 1 token from the supply onto that neighborhood being advertised. If the marketing tile had burgers on it, then place a burger on each neighborhood it's advertising to. After adding new goods tokens to the neighborhoods, remove 1 token from the marketing tile on the map. This helps keep track of the duration of the campaign. If you remove the last token, remove the campaign tile from the board and its corresponding number tile on your marketer. Your marketing employee now returns to your hand or on the beach and can be used again on future turns. The last phase of the round is the cleanup phase. All players now must discard any produced food or drink tokens that were not sold. If any player had gained the milestone that allows them to keep tokens between turns, they may keep up to 10. All played cards forming each player's company are now collected back to their hand. If any restaurants are placed this round and show coming soon, they are all flipped over to their welcome side. Now you check to see who has achieved any milestones this round. Any remaining for that type are flipped over to indicate they can no longer be awarded. If you're using laminated or whiteboard sheets for milestones, each player should circle milestones they've earned or X them out if other players accept you did. Milestones can be awarded to multiple players if they earn them during the same round. Once the round is over though, that milestone is no longer available this game. Let's take a look at all the different milestones possible and what you get by earning them. Follow along in your menu. If at any point during the round a player qualifies to earn a milestone, they take the award immediately. They can take the milestone card or circle the milestone on their whiteboard. The milestone's benefits go into effect immediately. Awards are applied and stay with the player the rest of the game, even if the award is no longer helpful. Players should plan their initial turn strategies around these milestones, as losing them to other players can impact the game later. First billboard placed. You no longer pay marketers' salaries, and all your marketing campaigns are permanent for the rest of the game. Just flip the marketing tile over to the infinity symbol and leave 1 food or drink token on it to know what it's advertising. First to train someone, you receive a $15 discount on salaries. First to hire 3 people in 1 turn, you immediately take 2 management trainee cards to your hand. First burger, pizza, or drink marketed. Your restaurant is known as the home of the original burger, pizza, drink. Anytime that player would sell that type of item, they collect a bonus $5 for each. First errand boy played. For the rest of the game, all your drink buyers gain 1 additional drink per drink source that they pass on their route. First to have $20. You are allowed to look at the face-down reserve cards. You may make noises and sounds in reaction or keep silent, however, you're not allowed to show them to other players who didn't earn the milestone. First burger or pizza produced. You immediately earn a burger cook or pizza cook card. Remember that these cards must be paid salaries or are fired during that payday phase. First waitress played. For the rest of the game, all your waitresses played earned you $5 instead of $3. First to throw away food or drink. For the rest of the game, you are considered to have a freezer. You can store up to 10 food or drink tokens between turns instead of throwing it away. First to lower prices. After you play a pricing manager or discount manager to lower your prices, you earn the milestone. For the rest of the game, your prices are automatically $1 lower. You cannot undo this effect, and this goes into effect immediately during the turn that you earned it. First cart operator played. For the rest of the game, all your drink buyers gain +1 range. First airplane campaign. For the rest of the game, you always count as having 2 additional open slots in your organization when determining the turn order. First radio campaign. For the rest of the game, every time you have a radio campaign that is advertising, place 2 goods per neighborhood as advertised instead of just 1. You still have to obey maximum token restrictions. First to have $100. Your CEO now counts as a CFO. You get the 50% extra cash bonus during dinner time. Once you earn this milestone, you may not get a CFO card. If you already had one, you must fire them. First to pay $20 or more in salaries. You have to actually spend this money, so if you're getting a discount, then you aren't paying for people's full salaries. But once earned, for the rest of the game, you may use multiple training actions on a single employee. Also in the menu booklet is a guide to all the employees. You'll see that all the employees on the left-hand column have this symbol on it. That means these are the ones you can hire or recruit. They also never have to be paid salaries. Every employee to the right must be earned through training and must be paid $5 salaries. The arrows show what training path they could take. So if you train a management trainee, you could train them to become a new business developer, junior VP, or luxuries manager. Remember, you can only have 1 employee in your organization of the type that shows the 1X icon, like the luxuries manager. All the details for what the cards do are on the menu and printed on the cards themselves. I'll go through each card here, but if you'd rather read through them yourselves, pause here and skip ahead to the timestamp for my explanation on ending the game. Here's what the employee cards do when they're played, as in your company structure that round. Waitress. Take $3 from the bank. Having the most waitresses played can break ties with competing restaurants. Management cards. The only difference between the 5 managers is how many employee cards that can report to them. Remember that management has to report directly to you, the CEO. They can hold a number of employees below them from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10. Pricing manager. Your base unit prices for all goods are $1 less. Recruiting girl. You may hire 1 person from the left column. Trainer. You can train up 1 person to the next level to the right, following one of the arrow paths. Errand boy. Take 1 drink of any type from the supply. Any drinks made or collected will be available for any of your restaurants to sell. Marketing trainee. Place a billboard ad somewhere in an empty space connected to a road that reaches one of your restaurants. The max distance away is 2. The maximum duration for the campaign is 2 turns. Kitchen trainee. Take a burger or pizza token from the supply. Any produced burgers or pizza will be available for any of your restaurants to sell. New business developer. Place a new house on the map or add a garden to an existing house. A house can never have more than 1 garden. New houses can be placed anywhere on the map adjacent to a road. There are no range limitations, and you may choose which house from the supply to place. Luxuries Manager. Your prices this round are $10 more per unit. Cart Operator. Gain 2 drinks from each source en route to your restaurant with a maximum of 2 distance away. Just follow roads from your restaurant to any adjacent drink icons on the map. When collecting drinks on a route, you may not make U-turns. The Truck Driver card does the same thing, but collects 3 drinks each source and has a maximum of 3 distance. Campaign Manager. Place a mailbox or billboard campaign tile on an empty space connected to a road that reaches one of your restaurants. The max distance is 3. Max duration is 3 turns. Burger Cook. Take 3 burger tokens from the supply. Pizza Cook. Take 3 pizza tokens from the supply. Local Manager. Place a new restaurant on the map. The new restaurant should be placed with the entrance facing a road within a distance of 3 from an existing restaurant. The Coming Soon side should be face up. Also, all your restaurants now have drive-ins. That means your restaurants have entrances on all corners of the tile now. Regional Manager. You may place or move a restaurant. You have no distance or road restrictions when placing. Additionally, new restaurants come in as open and ready for business, not coming soon. All your restaurants also gain drive-ins if they haven't already. Discount Manager. Your prices this round are $3 cheaper. Recruiting Manager. You may hire 1 person or have $5 less salary paid this round. You may choose from this twice, including the same option twice. HR Director. This does the same thing as a Recruiting Manager, but you may choose from these options 4 times in any combination. Coach. Counts as 2 training actions. You may use him to train the same person 2 steps. Place an airplane, mailbox, or billboard ad tile. No distance or road restrictions. The maximum duration is 4 turns. Brand Director. Place a radio, airplane, mailbox, or billboard campaign with a maximum duration of 5 turns. You may ignore distance and connecting roads to your restaurant when placing the ad tile. Burger Chef. Take 8 burger tokens from the supply. Pizza Chef. Take 8 pizza tokens from the supply. Guru. Counts as 3 training actions. You may choose to train the same person up to 3 steps. Zeppelin Pilot. Get 2 drinks from each source on the route. You may ignore roads, however, you're still limited to crossing 4 borders of map tiles. CFO. Add 50% more money to cash earned this round, including waitresses. Round up. When the bank breaks the second time, and you wrap up that phase, you don't have to pay employees. You will still get to take money earned, even if the bank is empty. You can use extra money from the box or write down what you've earned on a piece of paper for final totals. Whoever has the most money at the end of the phase wins the game. In case of a tie, the player who is earlier in turn order will win. Here's some extra information that will be useful to know about playing Food Chain Magnate. Except when you're choosing your cards to be at work for the round, players are allowed to request to see any cards of another player, including the ones in their hand. You may want to check page 14 of the rulebook for some suggested strategies. On that same page, it describes an introductory game. If you're playing with all new players, you may want to give that intro game a try first. It's also important to know food and drink tokens are meant to be unlimited. Milestone cards are as well. Other components like the houses, gardens, restaurant tokens, and marketing tiles are intended to be limited. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Check the video description for links to Big Viking mats, Board Game Geek, SleeveKings.com for a 10% off coupon on card sleeves, and Mr. Meeple t-shirts for cool board gaming shirts. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. And remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.